Uranium makes bombs, so dangerous that even one grain should never touch your hand. Why? Find out. So, uranium. When you hear this word, what comes to your mind? Bomb? Radiation? Danger? Green glow? Yes, all of that is true. But do you know that this same uranium also lights up your home? Yes, you heard that right. Uranium produces electricity. And today, I'm taking you on that journey, how uranium dug from deep inside the earth finally reaches a nuclear reactor. So let's begin. First, let's talk about the nature of uranium. Uranium is a chemical element. Its atomic number is 92. That means its atom has 92 protons. It occurs naturally, yes, without any human interference. In the ground, in water, in rocks. But here's a twist. Uranium comes in two types, two isotopes. One is U-238, which makes up 99.3%, and the other is U-235, which is only 0.7%. Now, U-235 is the special isotope that can undergo fission. Fission means when you break it apart, energy is released. But U-238, that cannot be broken easily. So think of it this way. Nature gave us a treasure chest, but only a tiny bit of it is real gold. The rest is just filler. Now uranium has to be extracted from the ground. There are two methods. The first method is traditional mining. Similar to how you've seen coal mining, uranium is extracted from open pit mines, meaning digging the ground open, or from underground mines, going deep inside. The second method is in situ leaching. This is a smarter approach. Here, the uranium ore is not physically removed. Instead, oxygenated water is circulated underground into the uranium deposits. This water dissolves the uranium. Then, this solution is pumped back up. This method causes less damage to the land while still getting the job done. Now this mined ore is sent to a mill. Here, it is crushed, and ground down into a fine powder. Then this powder is treated with chemical solutions, strong acid, or an alkaline solution. These solutions leach out the uranium, meaning they separate it from the surrounding rocks. Then this solution is dried, filtered, and what remains is called yellowcake. Yellowcake is a powder-like substance. Its name says yellow, but in reality it is brown or black. It contains about 80% uranium oxide. This is the concentrated form of uranium, now ready for further processing. Now, yellowcake cannot be directly put into a reactor. Why? Because it contains only 0.7% U-235. For a chain reaction to occur in a reactor, the concentration of U-235 needs to be between 3% and 5%. So this 0.7% needs to be increased to 3%. This process is called enrichment. But before enrichment, yellowcake must be converted into a gas. Yes, you heard that right. A solid powder is converted into a gas. How? Yellowcake is first converted into uranium dioxide. Then it is reacted with hydrogen fluoride and then with gaseous fluorine. The final product is uranium hexafluoride gas, UF6. This gas is extremely dangerous, but enrichment happens using this very gas. Now comes the enrichment step. This is the most interesting part. The UF6 gas is sent to an enrichment plant. Here, the gas is fed into gas centrifuge machines. A centrifuge is a cylinder that spins at extremely high speed, thousands of RPM. Now, a simple rule of physics: heavier particles move toward the outside, lighter particles remain in the center. U-238, being heavier, moves toward the outer wall of the cylinder. U-235, being lighter, remains toward the center. From the center, enriched UF6 is extracted, where the concentration of U-235 has increased. And from the outer wall comes depleted uranium, where U-235 has been reduced. But here's something to understand. One centrifuge does not achieve enough enrichment. This process has to be repeated again and again. Multiple centrifuges are arranged in a series. This is called a cascade. As the UF6 gas passes through the cascade, each time the concentration of U-235 increases a little more. When it reaches 3 or 5%, the process stops. This UF6 gas is now called low-enriched uranium. It is ready for fuel fabrication. The enriched UF6 is now sent to a fuel fabrication plant. Here, it is converted back into solid form. The UF6 gas is heated, chemically processed, and uranium dioxide powder is created. This powder is then pressed under high pressure into small pellet shapes. These pellets look like tiny tablets. Then these pellets are baked at extremely high temperatures, above 1400 degrees Celsius. This process is called sintering. After baking, these pellets become super hard, like ceramic. But these ceramic pellets are still not usable yet. They need to be packed into metal tubes. These tubes are mostly made of zirconium alloy. Each tube, called a fuel rod, contains over 100 pellets. Then these fuel rods are grouped together, 150 to 200 rods together, and this group is called a fuel assembly. This fuel assembly is exactly the right size to fit perfectly into the core of a nuclear reactor. Now this fuel assembly reaches its final destination, the nuclear reactor. Inside the reactor, uranium-235 atoms collide with neutrons. When one U-235 atom breaks apart, it releases 2 or 3 neutrons. These neutrons collide with other U-235 atoms, and they also break apart. This chain reaction, a controlled reaction, generates enormous amounts of heat. This heat turns water into steam. The steam spins a turbine, and the turbine spins a generator, and the generator produces electricity. Now here's an important safety feature. The concentration of U-235 in a reactor is only 3 to 5%. Weapons-grade uranium requires a concentration of over 90%. So, the uranium used in power plants cannot make a bomb. After this uranium has been used in the reactor, usually for 4 to 5 years, it becomes spent fuel. But here's the interesting thing. Spent fuel still contains over 90% of its potential energy. This spent fuel is first placed in cooling pools, steel-lined concrete pools filled with water. The water absorbs radiation and cools the fuel. After a few years, it is transferred into dry storage casks, heavy steel and concrete containers that trap the radiation inside.
All personnel confirm clear distance.
Confirmed. Set it down easy.
And this is the complete journey of uranium, from a simple stone lying in the ground to today lighting up your home. So the next time you turn on a light, remember, that is the power of uranium. This journey is not simple at all. It has mining, milling, conversion, enrichment, fabrication, and finally, electricity. And at every step of this journey, safety and security are the top priority. So that is the story of uranium. Hope you found it interesting. If you want to know more about such fascinating industrial processes, then stay tuned. And yes, don't touch uranium. We leave that to the experts.